Welcome back to Behind Enemy Lines with Mike and Terry. So we have a very special guest today, Art Chopper. He's got a special place in my heart for art. So when I first got into this battle for our children, he was one of the first really organized, old school. He's an old G parent activist, and so I met him. Number of phone calls with him and Karen as we were getting our battle for our children here in Illinois off the ground, and it's kind of a tough battle. So we'll talk a little bit about it, about Mass Resistance, his organization that helps parents like myself and anyone that's interested in fighting for their children with the organizational structure, tactics, things that you need to do to try to be successful. And it does vary by state, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So why don't we bring in Art, and then we'll do the little video after we bring. Hey, Art, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Thank you, sir. Let me read your bio. So, Art Shopper is the field director for Mass Resistance, the international pro-family, anti-LGBT activist organization that makes the difference. Born in Torrance, California, Arthur has been a committed pro-family activist fighting the LGBTQ agenda and the lies it's based upon since 2004. He began volunteering with Mass Resistance in 2014, then was hired full-time in 2018, where he's worked ever since. With this help and working with an incredible group of activists around the United States and the world, Mass Resistance has shut down drag queen story hour programs, removed perverted sex ed programs from public schools, stopped bad legislation like bans of life saving reparative therapy. Under Arthur's leadership, Mass Resistance chapters have opened up in Ohio, Texas, New York, Canada, Hong Kong, and elsewhere. We did try here unsuccessfully because Illinois stuff. Before working with Mass Resistance, Arthur was a freelance writer and activist fighting for a number of issues, including pro-family fight to stop the spread of LGBTQ agenda in the United States and around the world. Still living in his hometown of Torrance, California, Arthur is committed to protecting faith, family, and freedom in all respects. You also write now. That's not in here. You got to update this, right? Don't you publish and
I've been writing in a lot of places. I did mention it, as a writer. It's still going strong. You bet.
But, what you write normally in what trade bank? I see you normally you send me stuff. What is it? I forgot what it
Oh,
is.
sure. I've been published by. I'm writing for Town Hall, American Thinker,
Yeah.
American Greatness.
Yeah.
Heck, even Canada Free Press, Bearing Arms. I see you've got the gun owner's hat there on your head there, Mike. I've written.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just published something of mine recently, and there's other local news sites, websites, etc., that have also published myself, the work I've written. Here you see American Thinker. I've done more efforts to talk about mass resistance in my own freelance work. People need to know more about mass resistance. We've been fighting this agenda aggressively, full bore for over 30 years. That's how long the organization has been around. Brian Kamaker, he's the president. He was born in Minnesota. He currently lives in Massachusetts. That's where Mass Resistance is based. Our headquarters is in Waltham, Massachusetts.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
suburb of Boston. We've been speaking out against fighting this whole agenda for over 30 years. And this is a key point where a lot of pro family groups are missing it. You have to go after all of it. You can't just talk about the transgenderism. You have to talk about, homosexuality. Why is this stuff even being normalized in our schools? I just saw a video today. The lady still, I guess, thinks of herself as a lesbian, but she literally apologized. I am so sorry that I fought for gay rights. She wasn't joking. It wasn't parody. It wasn't sarcasm. She says, I had no idea that this is what it was going to unleash on the world. Well, we all could have told you that. The whole gay rights movement, they have a book called After the Ball. It was written by two of the key activists. It's basically the Mein Kampf of the whole LGBT movement. And they made it very clear that they were going to jam everybody with media, press, radio, movies. They were going to teach everybody to use the language of civil rights, to bully and browbeat anybody who would speak against this. Well, and look where we are now. The kids are abused in the schools. We
Mhm.
see kids being mutilated in hospitals. We see widespread persecution against anybody of faith or common sense who doesn't want to celebrate this perversity. And now you see children being marketed as products by gay couples who want to buy kids, or they traffic them from their natural parents. That has been the breaking point to get a lot of people to wake up. You got to go after all of it. A lot of pro family groups, like you saw in the article that I wrote there, they want to compromise with the gay stuff. They want to say, well, if we have some Look, we're not homophobic, we're not anti-gay, whatever, whatever. And I'm thinking, look, if there's nothing wrong with homosexuality, then why not teach it to the kids?
Mhm.
And this is the part people don't get. Massachusetts was spook central for this corruption. It was in 2003 the Massachusetts Supreme Court, through its Goodridge opinion, forced same sex marriage on the Commonwealth. It wasn't a vote of the people, it wasn't a decision of the legislature. It was forced by four out of seven. So this was a split
Yes.
decision saying you must recognize allowing two men or two women to marry. One of the first things that happened, the marriage licenses went from man and wife to partner A, partner B. That is
Yeah.
transgenderism at its core. Brian Kamaker, our president, was interviewed as early as 2008 on Fox News, explaining to Megyn Kelly, when she was a news anchor on that station, how they were mutilating kids even then, changing boys into girls, or trying to even then, almost 20 years ago. This
Yep.
perversion has become pervasive across the country. Mass Resistance is committed to stopping all of it. We want to train parents and other activists to fight this full bore. And we are really seeing this problem in the schools. Terry, you've done a lot of stuff fighting in the local high schools, for example, getting all of this cultural Marxist contagion out. That is a key element that we're fighting. We're having some success in Redlands. We've been working with some people in Oklahoma recently. Karen's been helping people out in South Carolina. She's working with people in Oceanside, California, too. And that's just a starting point of what mass resistance has been doing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to show, a little video from so we first, my twins just graduated from Downers Grove South High School, D99, and TPUSA ranked them as one of the most radical school boards in America. And all the porn and they push, they teach the kids their pronouns. Some parents would send secret microphone. They'd have lesbians come in. They had a bull dyke that looked like she just got out of prison in Downers Grove now North. I mean, I would be scared to fight that woman. Tattoos, butch, like, she's huge, and teaching about being a lesbian and their pronouns, which is disgusting. The grades have tanked, the cost of the school, the taxes went up, the grades went down,
Yep.
and they're focusing on things that are not, not normal. So
Yeah.
I have been since my kids are gone, and we were talking about it today with Lisa, who knows you, and Karen, that helped us with the show. It's like, who picked up? Nobody picked up from the battles we were doing there, Art. You know what I mean? Me and the people that were involved with me and my kids are gone and there's other things I'm fighting on, but parents have to get involved. And that's a big part of what mass resistance does is that if you want to learn how to organize and what to do and how to fight back and give some
Yes.
direction, they could help you do that. They helped us do that. Um, so I went back to Downers Grove because another parent sent me a flyer. They had a 2 o'clock walkout, anti-Trump, anti-ICE. I go there. It's two adults, Marxist, recruiting kids right in front of the front doors of the school. Right in front on the sidewalk in front of the front doors of the school. So I approached them. You'll see, you could tell. Thank God there was only 6 kids there that walked out, right? So that was good.
Oh,
I got
wow.
there I got there at 2 at the walkout time and school, ended at 2:30. And so I had my interaction. I have a little part here where we'll play just a 2-minute video of me approaching these folks and having a conversation. I was nicer than normal, Art, because there was kids there.
Okay.
I like to get in confrontations. I do enjoy it. And I was more respectful and polite because there was some children. It's funny. One of the leftist little kids like, "We're children." I'm like, "Wait a minute. When I was trying to keep porn out of your school, your parents were saying you're old enough to look at porn. Now you're a little
Yes.
child when I don't want Marxists there teaching." So, Mike, you want to play that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I just got back from Downers Grove High School, Downers Grove North. So people locally know 4 years ago I got involved in the politics because Downers Grove D99 High School District is ran by radical leftist Marxists who push porn, indoctrination of our kids, CRT, racist, African American only field trips. White kids were not allowed to go. Swear to God, I'm going to put this up after I'm done. They pushed genderqueer. The superintendent insisted the oral strap-on dildo blowjob pictures from genderqueer was not considered pornography. And all they've been doing is sexualizing our kids. They had recently, it's been national news, one of the teachers was banging a sophomore kid in high school over 50 times. Not only banging him into high school, she also invited him back to her house where she's married when her husband wasn't home. So that trial's going on right now. This another one of the coaches, I think it was a track coach, got sentenced to 15 years in prison from Downers Grove High School for child pornography. And these radicals were defending sexualizing our kids. So now, today, they had a Marxist socialist organization of adults in front of the high school that organized a walkout against Trump and ICE, anti-police. And so you're going to see some clips there. This will be the first one. I'll be putting some more out later. And I just want everyone, I'm going to show you some of the crazy stuff that occurred in Downers Grove North High School. And then after that, I will do the other clip and show you some of the initial discussions I had with these Marxists who are trying to further indoctrinate our kids. And Downers Grove North High School is okay with it. They say nothing. They didn't object to it. Nothing. Set up right in front of the school. Marxists trying to recruit young children. So watch this stuff. Look at some of the radical things that Downers Grove High School is responsible for. And then we'll show you the next clip. So what do you think about that? What a bunch of leftist fucking scumbags they are, right?
Yeah,
And
nice
the Downers Grove is ran by Marxists, indivisible. They protest ICE in Downers Grove. They try to keep them awake at night. The politicians there are complete scumbags. From Mayor Barnett, who wanted to embrace Trendelargo that was being dropped off in Downers Grove. You know, he's calling them travelers. He wants to protect them. So now the school, the city, everybody stood quiet while these Marxists were trying to recruit children in front of one of the high schools in Downers Grove. So watch this clip. And again, I'm going to show more later tonight, other clips for you to see. And I'm walking up to the Downers Grove High School. This is a radical leftist school. The ICE folks are. The anti-ICE folks kids are. Hey, I got a question for you guys. This is the anti-ICE protest, right?
Yes.
So are you guys familiar in Downers Grove here? They had a lot of Trendelargo gang members that were coming and being dropped off in Downers Grove.
Sure.
So I said, are you guys familiar that there was lots of Trendelargo gang members dumped off in Downers Grove? Yeah, I'm recording you guys. Well, if you don't, that's fine. I'm with the media. I could do this. We're on public space.
What organization?
Behind enemy lines.
Okay.
So I'm just asking you a question. Sure.
So, are you aware that Trump has dodged multiple drafts?
He what?
Are you aware that Trump has dodged multiple drafts? He is acting, and yet he is banging the war drum. Trump's son is not the type of person that will go to war. Okay. We are the people who will go to war because Trump is the type of person who will send our children.
So before we address that, I'm asking you about. So when you guys are standing for immediate citizen rights for illegals, right?
First off, nobody is fucking illegal.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Where are you from?
I grew up in 87 Sister originally. My kids just graduated here.
Okay, so I was gonna ask if you have the kids.
Yeah, my twins just graduated.
Are you picking them up?
No, but I could stand right here. You know, are you picking up kids?
No, I mean I feel like we're helping these high schoolers.
That's great. Who are you with? What organization are you with?
Socialist Alternatives.
Okay, that's great. Okay,
I just feel like this is kind of like a waste of both of our times right now.
So are you? So
what?
I guess what I'm asking, are you allowed to protest? But I'm not.
No, well, this is not. I mean,
not protesting.
we're not.
You're not protesting. I saw you're protesting ICE and Trump. I saw the signs. I got it. Okay, so
yeah, we're trying to build for that, and you're walking over here filming a bunch of kids.
Okay, and you're sitting there trying to indoctrinate a bunch of kids.
I mean, they reached out to us, man.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
I did reach out to them.
You know, okay, that's very good. That's good. So I'm asking you questions. I'm not trying to start a fight. I'm asking you simple questions. You want to address it instead of the kids then?
I don't know what question.
Okay, I mean, so
talk to the adults that are here instead of the children.
that's fine. Okay, that's what I just asked.
Okay.
So the answer to my question was yes, right?
Also,
I'm happy to talk to you like over here if you want.
And then also, are you trying to like? I don't think you're trying to have a productive conversation.
Wait, so
I think you're just coming
because
up
I don't
here to
agree with you.
antagonize us.
No, because I don't agree with you. That means I'm not productive conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you're walking over here with
like
the phone, built like.
Yeah, I'm
would
an
post
independent
it.
journalist. Yeah, I'm going to post it on Facebook.
Are you gonna watch it later on your
No,
own? Like, what are
you
gonna
guys,
do
you'll
with
see it. You'll see it.
it? Okay.
You know, yeah, you'll see it.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to talk to you over here if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk.
So that's it. I got to still edit the other stuff, but yeah, they're out there recruiting, kids to be Marxists, and they're like offended that I'm I'm talking to them, right? And the little girls, they're brainwashed. Those children are brainwashed.
And you got to ask yourself, are they girls? I mean, you look at that chubby creature. Is that a boy or a girl? You see, the moral corruption is already pervasive. I'm sure half of them are all into the whole LGBT perversity.
Yes.
And they go hand in hand. Part of the whole open borders lobby during the first Trump administration and during the Biden administration was all about, we've got to provide refuge for the LGBT migrants who are fleeing persecution wherever. But really, this is just about aiding and abetting and aggrandizing degeneracy and destruction and disorder. You will see, of course, they play this game. Well, we're minors, you can't record, but they explicitly go public and want to have protests and be on camera for corporate media to
Until there's
promote
pushback.
and broadcast everything they're doing. It's an absolute fraud. It is shameful. These adults are evil, taking advantage of. This is child abuse. It is absolutely a form of child abuse.
Yeah, it's funny you said that about the one chubby girl. You couldn't see it. She was holding an LGBTQ sign. You could, because she had it down. So
There you go.
yeah. So
And this is why the schools are square one for our, for us. We're targeting them because one of the most notorious examples of this are the gay straight alliances or the gender sexuality clubs. This is absolutely disgusting. Why would any adult stand by and tolerate this? This is the kind of dumbing down. We're not just seeing the kids being indoctrinated, but we're seeing adults, the general public, either unaware or unwilling or unsure of what anything has to be done about it. But on the contrary, this is stuff that has to be rooted out and cleaned out immediately. Mass resistance, we have an extensive series that we've been rolling out. We're in our 5th article. It was just released yesterday, exposing how destructive and evil these GSA clubs are.
Could you explain GSA art? Explain what you mean by GSA.
Yeah, Gay Straight Alliance.
And what does that
That's
mean?
what they're called. These are clubs that are, well, we want to create a safe space for the gay kids or the trans kids, which right away is child abuse. No kid is gay, no kid is trans. And this is, again, going back to the first thing we talked about. You've got some of these, you got like Gays Against Groomers. That is the dumbest organization I've ever heard of. They are grooming. They just groom at the speed limit. They've made it very clear. They want to normalize their own perversions. And so they present themselves as noble types who want to protect kids. If you really want to protect kids, you have to tell the truth. If you really want to protect kids, you don't promote perversion of any kind. There shouldn't be LGBT centers. There shouldn't be LGBT anything. I mean, 30 years ago, parents would have had pitchforks and they would have been burning down school boards if this kind of crap was happening in their schools. But what's happened is we've had 30 years of jamming. We've had 30 years of students now, college students who are now adults who have kids, who are now becoming woke, and all moved into Downers Grove so they could be invited to the Ed Foundation dinners and be invited to all the cool kids parties or adults parties. That's the problem we're seeing. We've got to root it out. We've got to expose it. And you're confronting that guy in the beard. You're bringing these kids out. Next time, a great opportunity would be saying, why do you want to be around little kids so much? Why are you doing this? Why are you getting phone calls from minors? You're not their father. Why are you talking to them? And you just gave a big litany of a huge problem in our public education system. One teacher, coach, one administrator after another abusing kids.
Yes.
This is rampant. Texas, it's horrible. In California, it's become a prevalent problem. Yeah. And guess what? All of this, again, goes back to the GSAs. It goes back to normalizing LGBT perversion. You have a stranger talking to these kids about these sexually explicit, deviant, destructive behaviors, acts, and everything in between. And then you have the clubs where the kids can feel safe. We exposed this. We shut down an event in Idaho. The local library had a church that advertised they were going to have a GSA or LGBT safe space event for ages 14, get this, 14 to 24.
Hmm.
We're talking about adults and minors
Yeah.
mingling together, and it's talking about sexual topics and themes. Oh, sure, there's nothing wrong with this. No, there's everything
Yeah.
wrong with this. And this is a repeat tactic with these GSAs. You have these LGBT clubs, they want to stop the bullying, quote unquote, even though you can see that those group of kids, they would bully you or bully any
Oh
other
my
kid
God.
if they could get away with
It's
it.
funny you said that. That's it, it's the reverse bullying at Downers Grove, right?
Of
It's like
course.
my son is, he's being raised to be a I got twins, right? And the girls are not less, my daughter is like us, but my son is, but he wants to be careful because if he pushes back, the girls might not like him, or you know what I mean? It's like they got their cult, and it's normal to be on the left. It's normal to support this LGBT stuff. And if you
Yep.
push back, you're like the outside of the group. And so he wanted when Charlie Kirk gave my kids, all expenses paid at TPUSA, they each got to bring a friend. My daughter couldn't find one girl to go with. You know how you hear about the boys are becoming Republicans first? I mean, this is a perfect. So my son got to bring two boys. My daughter couldn't get one girl to go free in the middle of winter of Chicago to Phoenix for 4 days with us, and so my son got to bring two friends, which he was happy about.
And this is for the event that was just last year.
Well, they just graduated. It was when they were 15.
Yeah, a
Okay,
few
I
years ago.
gotcha. Sure, I would drop everything and go to Phoenix in winter. It's really nice down there, especially compared to, Chicagoland. I get it.
Yeah, you
Uh, but and I gotta give there it is. Thanks for look. You have to block it out. You personally cannot explicitly depict what's in that awful book. And get this, Maya Kobabe. She's a crazy girl who thinks that
Yeah.
she's a non-binary. She has those stupid pronouns. She literally admitted in a discussion on her own graphic novel
Yep.
there's a picture of an adult diddling a kid. There is actual pedophilia from ancient Greece. It's in that book. She admits as much. Australia, we were working with an Australian activist to get these obscene materials out of the public libraries. They don't have a First Amendment in Australia. That's generally a bad thing. But the
yeah.
good side of it is that it's a lot easier to get rid of crap in schools, in libraries, and in the public square. They got genderqueer removed from the local libraries. This was in Queensland. And this is a movement. There are review boards that can take extra steps to remove these materials so that they're not even available to children. A book like Genderqueer shouldn't be available to kids at all. In fact,
No.
Maya Bobby herself, even that creepy lady who wrote that awful book, admitted as much
It's
that
not for
kids shouldn't
kids.
be reading it.
Yeah.
And yet you have the ALA, you have Kirkus Review, you have all of these American Library Association acolytes going to great lengths to make sure that this book is available. Happy to report Mass Resistance was part of the effort to get this book removed in Idaho. That was one place we were able to get it removed. We have worked with parental activists in Oklahoma. We're getting rid of a lot of awful books. In the Oklahoma is like the buckle on the Bible Belt. And even
Yeah.
there in the public schools, you have all kinds of perversion because you have these people indoctrinated in the universities. They're pushed with all this elite woke nonsense. They think they know better than the parents. It's their job to educate and improve those rustic redneck communities. They need to stop being so backwards and bigoted. When the fact is, they are the ones who are backwards. They are the ones who are bigoted. They are the ones who are destructive and disgusting. And that's where, again, mass resistance comes in. We are seeking
Yeah.
to train parents to fight back against this. This is the key thing, like what you just talked about, what your kids went through. They can't get any support and they even get negative pushback. We help to organize the parents to push back on the haters, on the leftists. We're working with a very powerful group in Redlands, California. The school board has implemented, this is California, okay? They've implemented one policy after another, getting rid of the bad flags, getting rid of the bad books. The big thing is we want to get rid of the bad people. We're working towards that.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, the school board meetings were often overwhelmed, dominated by these aggressive, abusive leftists. I think you've got the video of where I confronted some of them with some of the other parents. But the best part, we teach these parents and other activists to confront those leftists themselves. We don't do it, they do it. We train them how
Mhm.
to do it. And we have systematically, successfully scared off more and more of those leftists from showing up to the school board meetings. You punch back, you fight back, you push
Yes.
it back in their face. That's what we're also working on.
Yep, that was inherent to me, just who I am, right? When I did that, like the one school board meeting they had, Downers Grove Police, DuPage County Sheriff's riot gear, which to me that's a compliment, Art. It's like, and I wasn't gonna beat up anybody unless I had
Of
to,
course not.
but it was like just
Yeah.
because I'm speaking the truth. That's all. I
Well,
didn't do anything, and then they turn it into like making us into bad people
Yep.
simply because we don't want porn in our kids' school. And I would
That's it.
say, listen, I go when I held that poster up, right? I said, "You're trying to make us feel guilty because the suicide rate's higher. They won't feel included." Well, the suicide rate's higher because there's something wrong with the kids or your brainwashed.
yeah,
Yes.
Nothing to do with that.
yeah.
And those kids, they're children like my children, my twins, boy girl twins. They're children. Gay kids are children. They're innocent children. My kids don't have to see a blowjob book in high school. So why are you telling me just because they're gay, they got to see a strap-on blowjob book?
And I can't, and I got to jump in on this. The fact that they keep talking about gay kid, that's a form of grooming.
Mhm.
That's a form of child abuse. It is just so disgusting. You could go back 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You're going to have the weird kids, the at risk kids, the goth kids, the kids who painted
Troublemaker.
their hair color a different way. When I was in high school, for one day, there were two guys that were wearing a dress and they were walking around on campus being stupid. And you know what? Everybody rejected it, and the next day they stopped doing it. That
Yeah.
ended it.
Yeah, well, it's
It's like,
it's
but
psychological
nowadays,
blackmail.
they're
You're
going to
you're
treat it as a civil right. You've got to clear everything. You got to change everything. You got to let them use whatever bathroom they want, etc. This is nuts. We
yeah,
have got to start going after it.
Art, you're a little bit younger than me, but I was on the Southwest side, and if they would have came with a dress like that, we'd have beat the shit out of 'em. I'm not saying
You would
it's
have just beat
right.
them up.
I'm not saying it's right. It was a different time.
It's time
Well,
to bring
well,
back bullying. Actually,
exactly. When we used to
I'm
burn
totally fine
witches,
with
there were a
it.
lot fewer witches.
There
Yeah,
you go. There
yeah.
should it's it isn't bullying, it's civilization, refinement. It's like, no, it's not okay to act like that. You're a creep. Get the hell out of here. You don't get to do that. You don't get to act like that. You don't get to dress like that. That's more than appropriate. And it is abusive because people have this silly idea. It's like, there were statutory laws, men couldn't dress as women. It was a crime to do that. The reason why, it's not just about diminishing confusion, but it's about ensuring that kids don't get confused and induced into that corruption, because that's the point. It's always been about the kids. The gay men's choir, when they were singing, "We're coming for your children," they meant it. It wasn't a
Yeah.
sleight of hand. It wasn't a
Yeah, I
joke.
remember that. Yeah.
And that's how the whole gay lobby works. They say something and then they pretend, oh, we didn't really mean that. They play this Mott and Bailey game, but it's really about abusing kids. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's even more insidious. I don't know if are you familiar with that? Aaron Lee did the documentary Art Club. We've had her here on this program before. She's the mom that was in Colorado that had just moved there from Florida, took their daughter, is one of those kind of kids, doesn't quite fit in, doesn't make other friends very well. Took her to what she was told was after school art club. And then came to find out from her daughter after taking her there a few times, this is an LGBTQ indoctrination, basically induction after school program. They were given all the little trinkets, the stickers, all the nonsense, and basically talked to them about their feelings. If you're a little awkward, you're a 12-year-old girl and you don't think you quite fit in. Well, it's probably because you're really a boy and you were born in the wrong body. But she's got a whole documentary out about it, but she's been on fire since then. We've had, like I said, we've had her on the program here numerous times. If you're not familiar, I'll introduce the two of you. But I mean, this is how just insidious this is, and they know what they're doing is wrong because they're hiding it. If this was a good thing, you could talk about it. You could talk about it publicly. You wouldn't have to pretend this is an art club. They want to act like they're like they're the Underground Railroad saving the slaves, but nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up. Yeah, even Ben Shapiro wrote about that. The left keeps looking for the next crusade to jump on. It
Yeah.
started with the civil rights movement. Boy, that's another topic altogether. Charlie Kirk had the guts to really start addressing some serious problems. We got to get back to natural rights, natural law, most importantly, truth. human beings. I believe there's one race. There's not multiple races. I don't buy that garbage. People shouldn't be discriminated against based on how much pigment's in their skin. That is stupid. But now we have you just talked about the black only field trip. Look what's happened. You start with a lie that there are different races.
Yeah.
And then guess what happens? You start to create the differentiation. Then you create the hierarchies. It all starts with lies. You got to get to the truth. There it is. Racism is not patriotism. Racism.
You know what that was? That was a cupcake dish that the principal gave to all the teachers back in the day.
Okay.
All the teachers, and a teacher I know sent me that. Is that disgusting that she would hand it out to?
And who paid for that? You and me.
Right. That's probably true. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
So, what we would say this to them too, we could absolutely say to them, you guys are the ones who are racist. How they really feel about people with darker skin than they are. They think they're inferior, and they think because they have lighter skin, they are better. That's what it's all about. They've just repackaged it differently to make themselves, oh, I feel so bad about my privilege, when they really actually are very proud of it.
Yeah.
If they hated their privilege, they should sell their $1 million home in Downers Grove and move to the South Side.
Yes.
Where they get shot in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Then let's see what they really think of their privilege, right?
That's funny.
So,
yeah, the Downers Grove is full of these leftist Karens that are just elitist.
Yep.
And you want to, take some of these Trent Largo or these Venice, move them into your house. Oh, no way. They would never think about that,
Of course. That was a brilliant move that we saw people doing during the Biden administration. You love migrants? Okay, you can have them. They would bring a couple of them to someone's house that had a poster in their lawn that said no one's illegal. Okay, you got it. Here they are. Open up your home. And then they thought, well, let's rethink this. So sometimes that's what it takes. People have to be mugged by reality. And it's certainly the case with this LGBT stuff. You have these liberal leaning parents. I'm sure that there are more parents who are reaching out to you in the Chicagoland area. They were liberal, they were elite, they were open minded. And then their kid came home one day and their son thinks that he's a daughter. And that bothered them. They had enough sense to go, this ain't right. Suddenly, they're now forced to deal with this. We were helping a father in British Columbia, Canada. He was pretty liberal, not very political. But then one day, the Delta School District in the Kelowna area was transitioning his daughter. When he went to court to stop it, he was told that he had to go along with it. He had to keep his mouth shut. And when he refused to do so, they ended up putting him in jail. Canada will lock you up if you refuse to go along with your child being sexually mutilated in the name of transgenderism. That's Canada for you. And they got the chief tranny enabler now, Mark Carney, who is basically following the same pattern that Justin Trudeau had laid out for 10 years. I think this matters. You have a lot of Canadians, I think, running around in the Chicago area. You're pretty damn close to the border. So this is the kind of crap that's going on.
Yeah, we have people from Canada watching. And what's so crazy is that they're so desperately trying to normalize this. I don't understand the politicians.
They're predators, they're abusers. And the other thing I can add to it is they're absolutely terrified. If there's any cult, if there's any interest group that commands more terror, it's this LGBT cult. I mean, look at all the trans mass shootings that have happened in the last year. Look what happened to Charlie, assassinated by a pro-tranny homo.
Yeah, an assault tranny.
Yeah, we can't, my kids in school, like my kids in school, they can't bring like medicine if they're sick or something to school. I have to bring a letter and stuff. But, oh, by the way, if they want to convert their sexes, they could do it and not tell us. Right? I mean,
and the school will give them the Lupron and the cross-sex hormones and everything else. And to your point, Terry, not tell you. It's disgusting. You talk about Canadians. Billboard Chris, how many times now has this guy gotten his ass beat out there just trying to protect kids? These lunatic leftists. I mean, I had him on our program, my program forever ago, and I helped him edit these videos. After he was literally in front of cops. He had about 10 or 11 activists. I think he told me this like the 30-something time he'd been assaulted. They'd broken his, I don't want to say his wrist or his collarbone, because I know he's received multiple injuries and had to go in for this stuff over the time. But yeah, the police are literally there watching them beat this guy, throw him on the ground, step on him, smash his signs, everything else. He's bloody. He goes there and talks to him, and they just laugh about it. Oh, we didn't see anything. Well, I guess you'll have to go to the station to file charges. It's disgusting. You have these militarized, politicized police that then defend this kind of stuff and lock you up in jail if you say or do anything about it.
That's Canada. The tyranny goes further. Maybe you can pull up that we have a whole series on this man, Bill Watcott. He's a Christian activist who frequently uses our materials telling the truth about homosexuality and transgenderism. He is still facing criminal charges for passing out gospel tracts in a gay pride parade. And get this, the parade was in 2016. 10 years later, the Ontario provincial government is still pursuing criminal charges for incitement to hatred because they don't have a First Amendment in Canada. But, it's not just about you could say whatever you want. Bill is telling the truth, and he's punished for doing that. They have rampant crime, carjacking, murder, theft. People literally walk around naked in Toronto, Canada, and yet they're persecuting the Christian for passing out gospel tracts. This is how evil, and this is stuff that's seeping into the bluest of blue in the United States. You see it in Chicago, no doubt.
Yeah.
Here in California, this is the transgender sanctuary, supposedly. The chief groomer, Scott Wiener, who looks like a demon, openly gay, Democrat, obviously from San Francisco, obviously, now wanting to replace Nancy Pelosi, obviously. He pushed not only the, kidnap your kid to groom them, he also pushed legislation. I don't think he authored it, but he helped push it, where schools could keep secrets from parents. This was national news. But the good news is we have some common sense federal judges. They just struck that down. Schools do not have a right to be keeping secrets from parents. In fact, there is federal law about this. You cannot withhold information from parents. It's federal law. There are clear actions about this.
So when did that become a federal law, and how come, like in Illinois, things like that are not addressed?
Okay, what I'm thinking, I know this ties in also with our long series on gay straight alliances and exposing them. There's a law as early as 1984 which does not permit discrimination. I don't know if there's a codicil or an element within that law that forbids keeping secrets from parents. I'm not familiar with the statute precisely, but it is a matter of federal law that schools cannot be keeping secrets from parents.
Yeah,
You
they don't
cannot
follow
do
that
that, and
here
you
in
can't be
Illinois.
divulging stuff whenever you want either to third parties. So California, of course, doesn't care about the rule of law. They have no problem beating up ICE agents in the streets.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom has no problem disregarding the death penalty, even though we as Californians 3 times in a row have voted to keep the death. As crazy as California is, we're
Wow,
not totally
really?
crazy. But
Well,
going back to
let me-
this LGBT cult,
Let me interject one thing here real quick with your congressman there too, because he also signed onto a bill to lower the age of consent to, I think it was 12 years old. I might
No
be off
way.
on the number. Yeah, the same congressman you're talking about that wants to replace Nancy Pelosi's seat, Wiener, whatever his name is.
Scott Weenie, Wiener, groomer, the
Yeah.
communist groomer.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
that one.
Age of consent laws, you might be thinking of Senate Bill 145. This was national news again. It's embarrassing. It's always California. Senate Bill 145, this passed in 2020. What it did was it allowed a 24-year-old to have sex with a 14-year-old and avoid the sex offender registry. I am not kidding you. A judge had the discretion to allow a 24-year-old to get away with this perversion. And it was all under the aegis of, well, we want to protect the LGBT community. I kid you not. That tells you everything.
Yeah.
It tells you everything. We even have an openly gay member of the state legislature right now, is a Republican, strangely enough. He's actually trying to repeal that bill. He's been trying to fight to repeal that. We've had a little bit of success. We have a great state senator, Shannon Grove. She's been fighting to protect the women. We have one women's prison in California, in Chowchilla. And guess what? Confused men who think they're women have been going to that prison, and they assault the women.
Yeah, they're not
And
confused.
she tried to get a bill passed to stop that. She didn't have the votes. This is how insane. However, she was able to get legislation through that would ensure that the sex trafficking of a minor would be a felony. Can you imagine that? In California, it had become a misdemeanor. She made it a felony again. She did it, a Republican, outnumbered by Democrats. She even got Gavin Newsom down to her feet to go along with it. She got it done.
It's
So
great.
there's hope. There's always hope. And I say this to you in Illinois, in Chicagoland, you can turn this around. You can start at the local level. Mass resistance, we've done it in blue states and red. You can have the bluest sections of a red state too, and we can stop this LGBT perversity. We've done it. In Atlanta, Georgia, we have shut down Drag Queen Story Hour programs. Atlanta, Georgia is as blue as Chicago. Most people just don't realize that, but it's really sick there. It is gay a lot of places. We went to the very gayest section, the Ponce de Leon section at Atlanta, and we shut down a drag show
Yep.
for the kids. We did it there. Texas, we were able to shut down drag shows there. We were able to shut down a drag queen going to even in Redwood City, California. Okay, we're talking blue of blue. It can be done.
Yeah,
The key
I
challenge,
shut down drag queen bingo in my library. Uh,
wonderful.
and then
There
they
you
said,
go.
it just they're just crazy. They want to attack you, brutally attack you, right?
They do.
Brutally
They
attack.
want the kids that bad.
Yeah. So say parents are watching right now, right? And they're like interested. So we had mass resistance. We have but like, can you? I know there's a lot more to it, but kind of get a little step by step, like, hey, call us. This is what you need to do, or can you do that in the time we have left, just to give them an understanding of the roadmap that you can help them enable saving their children. To get started and get something off the ground, which is important.
Absolutely. Heck, I don't mind. This is my work cell. We make it public. My number 781-474-3005. 781-474-3005. It's an easy number. You can call me. I'm able to screen out a lot of bad guys. It doesn't matter to me. We're used to it. In fact, we don't have nearly the harassment that a lot of pro family groups endure because we don't back down in any way. They know they can't shake us. That's an easy number to release. I'd ask your staff, show our website, massresistance.org. You can
Down
visit
there.
that.
Yep.
There is a contact page. You can write to us through that. We've had people, some lady in Colorado recently wrote to us. She just got elected to the library board in her community. She wants to clean house. She wrote to us there. I had a dentist in South Dakota. He's been in touch with us off and on. He contacted us today. We're pushing in South Dakota to get our resolution against Obergefell. We want to get that passed, saying no to same sex marriage. We want to get back to the core issue. This has been something that's frustrated me about pro family groups. They are tinkering around the edges. Let's get to the core of it. Two men cannot marry. If you allow two men to marry, then you're going to have two men buying a kid. Then you're going to have those two men telling the teacher they got to teach their kids that what they do is normal. Then you got to teach all the kids that it's normal. Then it's okay to tell the kids they can change their sex. The slippery slope is real, folks. So let's push it all back and take back the hill. That's what needs to happen. There's some of the latest stuff we've done. There are the reports we've also pushed out. Heck, we were able to stop pride resolutions. I live in the
Go
city of
slower,
Torrance.
Mike. You're going too fast. I'm getting dizzy, Mike. Go ahead.
the,
Go ahead.
the blizzard.
Yeah.
So here we go. This is all the stuff we've been pushing. And I even want to do this in Illinois. You've got some pretty decent legislators in Springfield. I want somebody who
yeah.
will run our just give me one.
Yeah.
Give me one who will file our resolution against Obergefell. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's make Governor Pritzker maybe lose some weight from the terror.
Oh, he's on that Obscenic or whatever that crap is right now. He's losing weight like crazy. Oh,
And he has a brother who thinks he's a sister. I don't know if people are aware of this.
his cousin with his heels in the military, disgusting, fat
Something
pig,
like that.
brutal, disgusting. So like, I learned that with our group, right? So you don't have to be confrontational. Like, there's different roles that you play when you start an
Certainly.
organization to fight for your children, right? So don't think, oh wow, it's crazy, mass resistance, or you don't. There's different roles. You're right. You recruit a team. So if you
Yes.
want to be front and center, you don't have to be front and center. So don't get scared and say, hey, that's not for me. I'm not like that. We need your brain, your body, your organizational skills, right? Your willingness to
Yes.
recruit and tell other people and try to get I mean, it's that's one of the biggest important things that we do is recruiting other people. Say, hey, we need your help, right? And bring them to a structure that is could be developed from a template that art has for mass resistance.
And I know time's really short. I'm gonna send Ed, I want to send you one other article. We did something we were really excited about. Uh I hope I can find it. It was one of the villages. Oh man, I'm trying to give you about 6 seconds here.
Is it on your website? I can probably find it pretty quickly then.
Yeah, it has to do. There it is. Drag Queen Invasion. The Uprising Bakery. Maybe you all heard of that. It was in one of
Oh
the
yeah.
villages in the suburbs. We
Yeah, it
helped
was
shut
over here.
that down.
Uprising Bakery was here. That was here.
We shut
Northwest
them
suburb.
down in the village. I got
Oh,
the
she's
story.
coming after. Oh, there was one here, Uprising Bakery, and then that she's on TikTok. She was coming after me on TikTok just recently.
There
Or
you go.
the
We're
one
able
that got
to
shut down. She got about 150 grand after it was shut down. kept the money, didn't start her business up.
How about
She's a
that?
drifter.
I just sent it to the email. If you, the point I'm bringing, the reason I'm bringing it up is that even in a deep blue, depressing place like Chicagoland, you can fight this stuff. You can win, and that's what, and we've done it, and we want to keep building on that. That's the point I want to communicate to everybody.
Do you
Okay,
have,
so don't be.
do you have any other states like Illinois that have the no book banning bills?
The notebook. Okay, California did it. Uh, I think New York State just did it, where you're not allowed to remove obscene books.
Yeah.
They've gone
Yeah,
to
they'll
let.
take our funding away from us. Yeah, Pritzker.
Yeah, yeah. What I would say, we saw townships in Michigan where they would vote to defund their libraries. If a public space is so determined to push abuse on children, then we cut their money. Frankly, we're getting to a place where people have millions of libraries at their fingertips. And if public institutions are more committed to abusing kids, then cut their money
Yes.
off. It's time to move
Yeah.
on with society. A city
Yeah,
should not be funded to abuse kids.
Yeah, if they're there for activism and not education, then we don't need them anymore. As you said, you have a wealth of the world's information at your fingertips with the internet. If the library is not going to cooperate, and you just got a bunch of blue-haired moonbats running the show over there and washed out, aged out hippies, then cut them off, get rid of them. Then go back. They can ride home on their hover rounds and cry about it. And we should register them as sex offenders too.
We need to start pushing that again. I understand 80% of the counties in Illinois basically gave the finger to the governor regarding the gun grab laws. That needs to be the next movement, I would think. If the state legislature is so far gone, start doing local disobedience. That's the way to go.
Yeah,
That's something we wanted to experiment. We tried to do this in Norwalk, California. We shut down a well-being center in Norwalk, California, which had the authority to send kids to get abortions or sex change procedures. We went in the community. We told people what was happening. We were able to shut it down, and that school board was not on our side. You can get it done. It's just a matter of aggressive confrontation. Tell the truth, and we really want to fortify people that yes, you can be that confrontational. If you don't feel like raising your voice, you'll get to that place so that you get to speak your mind on your terms before having to do it because they took the liberties with your kid. You want to hit first to put a stop to all of this.
Yes, I agree. Big time. And if you're not comfortable, you find someone on your team that will enjoy it. And you will find somebody.
You bet. Like Terry and Mike, you guys are really getting it done. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank
When
you.
so when and when I first started talking to Art and Karen, the Southern Poverty Law Center wrote a story about me that I hate everybody because I was fighting against porn in my kid's school. Simply, you want to be a gay or whatever, I don't care. Just don't, put it in my kid's face. So this story came out here. I thought, oh my God, everything's over with. They were calling my job. They were calling my job, these scumbags, and we had a tip hotline. It was right after COVID, and they left a message. And then here's where they mentioned mass resistance, right? Trying to organize, and I'm like, oh, I called Karen. I'm like, oh my God, tell them, I didn't know that, they put Moms for America, Moms for Liberty on there. You guys were one of the first ones. You guys were
Yes.
one of the original ones on there. And then they later, like maybe 2 years after this, they started putting everybody on there, right?
Yes.
And you guys, were the first standalone group doing what you're doing to be targeted by them.
And I got to add this. I'm very proud of this. We had a very different approach with dealing with the hate group from Alabama. First of all, we trained people. If somebody on social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, if they mentioned that hate group, we bashed them. You have to pound them verbally. You have to let them have it. You're a hater. You're a bigot. Why are you promoting this bigotry, etc.? The second thing we did is we started going after newspapers that quoted the hate group from Alabama. And they ended up, we got a couple of newspapers to retract the references. Heck, we even got Michigan Public Radio. We're talking when they were still getting money from the feds. NPR, as liberal as it gets, we pushed on them and says, this is the SPLC. They defame Jews, Christians, Muslims. They try to shut down educational opportunities for African-American students. Mm-hmm. You hold them to their standards. You're all into diversity. How come they don't like black people? We played that game. And the NPR affiliate in Michigan and even in Wyoming, they retracted it. They took away the SPLC reference. I was on the phone with a newspaper reporter in Gillette, Wyoming, and I was literally saying, you need to take that down. He took it down on his own. like that. That's what had to happen. And a lot of pro family groups, they would just write a letter and say, please stop, please stop. It's not nice. And
Yeah, they
we
don't care.
punched back and said,
Yeah.
you guys are unprofessional, you're incompetent, you're stupid. Why would you write something that dumb? And we have seen now in the past 4 years. I mean, look at President Trump. He has survived every form of defamation, persecution, lawsuit, etc. And this has trickled down to fortify a lot of people. I mean, we've had recent reports about us, and the SPLC never gets mentioned. I was able to get an entire news group. They stopped mentioning them entirely because I showed all of the
Mhm.
dishonesty. They've been sued. They had to. We hit them hard and went after their integrity, and we were able to just make them a non-entity. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I started the guy that wrote that story, there was another one written last year with me, Tom Homan, and General Flynn, just going after the illegal Trent Largo guys, and they say, "I hate, innocent asylum seekers. We're base bigots." First was the kids, now that and, I had, the guy that wrote those stories is, Jeff Tischauer. He's at Antifa, Chicago Antifa.
There
So
you
I
go.
started having media on our side, writing stories about him and who he is, and tying SPLC to Antifa, plus the guy in Atlanta, Antifa. They got a bunch of Antifa scumbags writing these stories, and then who are the bad people? Us. But Antifa's good, BLM's good, all these radical crazies are good, and they attack people like us, and they lost
Mhm.
credibility. I think another thing, Moms for America, Moms for Liberty, when they attacked them, it helped us. They look so crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, if everybody's a hate group, then nobody's the whole thing falls apart. That's what
Yeah,
they did.
parents involved in education too. My group, the one I was, for Illinois and North America, they went after all these mom groups, and it made them look like, it was. I'm glad they did it because they look like assholes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
So, do you have a closing statement for parents out there that are wanting to try to save their children from this craziness, from high school or in grammar school or in the
Absolutely. At any age, at any level, it all has to be fought. Mass resistance is here to make the difference. You got to speak the truth, the whole truth. You have to confront it fully. Compromise or half measures do not work, and it can be done. This whole agenda is built on a house of cards. Fingers crossed, the Supreme Court is very much our ally. You mentioned reparative therapy in my bio. We're very proud of fighting to maintain those therapies. People are not born that way. You can deal with the underlying traumas to be set free from homosexuality or transgenderism. The Supreme Court of the United States, they're going to be issuing a pretty strong ruling, whether it's narrow or broad, that is going to strike down these bans. That's going to start unraveling this whole fraud. It's a house of cards. Ronald Reagan says, I want the Berlin Wall to disappear. And 20 years later, it did. This
Yeah.
whole LGBT cult is going to disappear. People will see it's all based on an empire, on a throne of lies, as the elf, as Buddy the Elf would say. It's all on a throne of lies.
Hey,
And
Mike,
we're seeing it crumble in real time, folks. We're seeing it crumble in real time.
yeah, hey, Mike, maybe we'll connect Joe Severino with this reparative therapy stuff.
Yeah, he needs something. He needs at the very least is a hobby to occupy his free time now that he's off the ballot.
There
Yeah,
you go. And the
it's
guy
an
with the beard who was grooming the kids outside of Downers
it
Grove High School, he'd be another one, definitely.
yeah. Yeah. So, well, thank you. We got mass resistance down there. Please, parents, if you're questioning your kid's school and school board, you're not crazy, right? There's nothing wrong with you. They're the ones crazy. Don't let them bully you. And if you want to have and learn how to apply tactics and build a team to fight for your children, which you should be, reach out to Art and massresistance.org.
Well said. Yeah, and Art, stick around after we close out. I'm going to get you some contacts for a few people. I think might be you definitely be able to help each other.
Sure.
But yeah, thank you for joining us today. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Terry.
Before we do it, don't forget. I'm sorry, we always forget this. Tuesday, it's going to be Mike and Mickey Scornavaco will be standing in for me. I'll be in Florida if I could get out of Chicago with this weather.
Yeah, if you're not frozen in. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mickey has created. He came up with a brilliant idea. A lot of the Democratic local area websites were not taken. He hijacked them, and he got the websites, and it reverses into crazy fools of how nutty they are. How to make us a sign. It's just you're gonna love it, right? And he's gonna. I think the girls from Chicago Red turned Chicago Flipped Red is gonna be on too.
Awesome. All right, gentlemen. Again, thank you for being with us tonight, Art. To the audience, Thank you for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. And we'll be back on Tuesday with even more.